I see it every day working in law enforcement as a police officer. I see young men failing, not because they're lazy or because they lack motivation. It's because nobody showed them how to live, and there was nobody there to give them guidance. You see, I'm a former United States Marine. I'm a husband, I'm a father to four children, and I've dedicated the last 12 years of my life to law enforcement. I'm currently a police sergeant and a SWAT operator, and also a SWAT sniper. But more than any title, I'm a man of faith, and my accountability is to God. You know, a lot of us didn't grow up with the father or have the guidance we needed. I know that because I lived it. I wasted years trying to figure life out on my own, and I don't want you to go through the same thing. When you grow up without guidance, it's easy to get lost. You wander through life confused, influenced by the wrong people, making decisions that lead nowhere, or worse, decisions that get you in trouble or really put you in a position that are hard to come back from. I see it every day, and it's not because people are bad. It's it's not because of where they're geographically located or the color of their skin. It's because nobody showed up and nobody was there for them. Nobody showed them a better way. For years, I was lost, no direction, no structure. You know, I surrounded myself with people just as lost as I was, the blind leading the blind. And it only made things worse. You know, one night, drunk with a friend, we dared each other to call military recruiters. I followed through, he didn't. And joining the Marine Corps, it changed my life. It was perfect for a young man in my situation. It gave me discipline, structure, purpose. And that's where my relationship with God began. Long story short, when I was in the Marine Corps one night, I, just flipped the pages of the Bible. I landed on Psalm 27:1 that reads, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Whom shall I be afraid?" And I don't know why, but that scripture just hit home. And I think the truth is deep down, I was scared. I was afraid. I was away from home for the first time. Knew that, you know, becoming a Marine during the global war on terror, there was a big chance that I would go to war and maybe not come home. But I made a decision. It was either become a Marine or end up dead or in jail. That was pretty much the direction I was going at the time. Being a Marine, becoming a Marine, it was great for me. It gave me confidence, structure, discipline. Um, Gave me a lot of pride in myself and gave me some self-belief. But when I did my time in the Marine Corps and I came home, the truth is it wasn't enough. When I got out, I went home, started reconnecting with old friends that I grew up with, and now I'm older. Now I'm disciplined. I'm trained. I'm confident, and so I fell back into this this habit of living a fast life. Going out every weekend, drinking, partying, hanging out with friends who they were living a wrong life, and I fell back into some bad habits, and I started battling a tough alcohol addiction, and to the point where I hit rock bottom. And that's when I realized that my only hope was the hope that I found when I was in the Marine Corps, which was my relationship with God. I believe that if God could get me through the Marines, he could get me through anything. And at this time in my life, not having anything, struggling with alcohol, dealing with hurt, pain, I turned to God. And that's where the real change is starting to happen. I gave my life to God, and literally about a year and a half later, I became a police officer. And that journey wasn't easy. And, in the future, I'm going to talk about that as well, about my journey and what it took to become a police officer, the ups and downs, the detours and setbacks that I faced, but ultimately achieved the goal. And 12 years later, here I am, a police sergeant, SWAT operator. So much has been done within that period of time. Like I said, I was a gang detective, I was a narcotics detective, was on a tactical team serving um, search warrants and arrest warrants, high risk search warrants and arrest warrants at a high tempo. Um, and then even taking a break in between to go be a government contractor and protect Americans overseas. And so, it's been an interesting road, sort of say. But I know that's just been God taking me down the path that He's chose for me. Through faith, through the Bible, and through discipline and finding other strong men around me, that were able to give me some advice, to give me some wisdom, to help me learn from some of the mistakes that they made and some of my own mistakes that I made. Um, it was through God, through the Bible, through going back to church that I finally found guidance, a mentor, and some concrete direction for my life. And that's what it kind of boils down to, is that ultimately the choice and the responsibility is yours. The choice to make a shift and choose a new direction in life and become the man or woman that God has created you to be. So I know at this point you're probably asking, well, all of that sounds great, but how does that work for me? What do I do, especially not having guidance, not having a father, not having a mentor? So number one, decide. Just decide, make a decision today. Whether you're hanging out with the wrong crowd, battling addiction, mixed up in things that you shouldn't be, decide that you're going to pivot, that you're going to do an about face, and that you're going to start heading a new direction. And I think the biggest decision that you have to make in order for that to be possible is to make a decision to follow God and allow Him to show you the direction for your life. No more excuses. No more not following through on your commitments. But just make that decision to say, I'm going to make these changes and I'm going to commit. I'm going to stick with it. And I see a lot of people fail, when it comes to commitments. I mean, you could think about New Year's resolutions, right? We're almost 5 months deep into the year until 2026. In 2026, we're 5 months deep. How many people do you think are still following through on their New Year's resolutions? Number two, and it kind of resonates a little bit with number one, get a Bible, order one online, go to a church, get one for free, but you're going to get a Bible, start reading it, and then go to church. Even if it's uncomfortable, this is where discipline in your life begins. This is where the new journey begins. Number three, start to build some structure in your life. When I went to the Marine Corps, this was something I never had. Getting up at 5 a.m., running, drilling, training, whatever it was. Go to bed at a certain time, wake up at a certain time, eat certain food, stay away from certain food, hydrate, start to build your health, your mind, read, stay away from being on social media all the time, being on your phone all the time. The men out there, that struggle with lust, I'm sure there's a lot of things that can really, really destroy your mind and really destroy your relationship and your self-confidence because you're indulging and watching things you probably shouldn't. We're all men, we have our struggles, but we also have the discipline. We also have to have the discipline and the accountability to say, hey, this is a problem and it's stealing precious time and momentum. So start to build better habits into your life. I know it sounds easy, simple, but it will take effort. It will take commitment. Again, commitment is where a lot of people fail. Number 4, find quiet time. You have to be able to sit in silence. When I was in the Marine Corps, it was between 2005 and 2009. Cell phones were, a thing, but they weren't like iPhones where you had the internet and FaceTime and all this stuff on there. I mean, you could pretty much call and text. But while I was in training, in the Marine Corps, um, we didn't have phones. We couldn't even make phone calls. We were still writing letters home. And so there was a lot of time that, I had to sit in silence, but it was good. It gave me the time to think, to reconnect with God, and to find clarity. And right now in the world we live in, it is so busy. We're so bombarded with notifications, with technology, with being addicted to our phones and being drowned in dopamine. And it's fake dopamine. It's not even real dopamine. So take the time to sit still. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I'm God." So find quiet time, 15, 20 minutes a day. Sit still, meditate, ask God for direction. Start thinking about your next goal, what you want to achieve. Who's the person that you want to become? And when I say the person you want to become, I'm not talking about a career choice. I'm talking about your character. I'm talking about the person that you want to be in this world, giving back good, leaving behind a legacy for your children or your future children, whoever it may be. And last but not least, number 5, find some accountability. If you don't have anybody to hold you accountable, get a journal, start to hold yourself accountable. And what I mean by this is, again, when it comes to goals, building structure, making commitments, tell a trusted friend, somebody that isn't going to discourage you or be negative. Tell them, hey, this is my goal. I'm giving this up, or I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm staying away from this toxic relationship. Tell them, hey, man, if I'm not following through, if I'm not doing this, if I go back, I need you to be brutally honest with me. Give me that tough love as a friend or as a brother, as an uncle, as a sister, whoever it is. And again, like I said, if you don't, be honest with yourself. Say you're going to go to the gym 3 times a week and the week got busy or whatever, you got lazy and you decided, hey, I went once. Journal that so that you can come back to that later and you can see your progress and you can see where you were and where you are. Be honest with yourself. You know where you are. You know the struggles you have, the issues you have. I don't have all of this figured out. I'm still learning. I'm still making mistakes, but I'm still growing every day. I'm trusting God every single day. But one thing I can tell you is that when you seek God, your life will change. And the biggest thing and the reason why I made this channel is so that you're not alone. I'm on this journey too. There's millions. Everybody's on this journey, man. Nobody's perfect out there. The Bible says that everybody has sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We've all sinned. We've all made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes today. Nobody's perfect. And that's just the reality of it. And it's a good thing that nobody's perfect. We all get to learn from each other. We all get to sharpen each other. Proverbs 27:17 says, just as iron sharpens iron, another man sharpens another man. So that's what we're here for. So if you're struggling, you have any issues, you need prayer, drop it in the comments. I'm here to engage and to interact and to try to be a mentor as much as I can be. This is important to me. I struggled. I know what it's like to grow up without a father, without guidance. Let's jump on this journey together. Let's learn together. Let's become the men, the women that God has created us to be. Hit that subscribe button and let's get to work.